So if we've never met before, my name is Rachel, and I like to share messages with people to help them overcome challenges and suffering. We talk about relationships, physical health, spirituality, purpose, lots of deep things because I like being deep, and I have Jupiter in Scorpio, which means my abundance and luck is in Scorpio stuff, which is all about transformation and death and ending and sex and transformation. But today I wanted to talk about how having difficult conversations can change your life. And I want to start by sharing a few experiences where I've had this happen. Sorry, my nose itches. Because I can only talk from my personal experience, and I know my story has helped me transform, and it's also here to help other people. So the reason I started to think about this video was because, well, I have to go back. When I was 16, my parents separated and divorced, and that was really rough for me. My whole world came crashing down. I did not process it. I did not deal with it. I did not cope with it. I always had anxiety growing up. I was always sensitive, but that stress, I'm watching a cat and she's been very shy the whole time, and now she's coming up to me. She's very cute. Oh my gosh, I literally haven't seen her for the 3 days I've been here. Oh, universe is funny. Okay, so yeah, my parents divorced. I was always very sensitive, so them splitting up was very, very difficult for me. And then my mom got remarried, and at first the relationship with him was okay, and then there was just some tension for a long time because of choices and things, energies, I don't know, whatever. And there was tension for a long time, like at family gatherings, because, you know, my mom obviously still had a relationship with me and had a relationship with him, and then I have a brother, and, you know, my mom's skill set at the time was just kind of like, I'm remarried, get used to it. So there wasn't really, you know, it was really tough, that transition. But there was tension for a long time, and she would be in the middle of like the relationship with him and having the relationship with me, and she's like, I love and care about you two so much, why can't you have a healthy relationship? And, you know, the reason why is whatever. There's hurt on both sides. There's during that time, I was doing all this healing and really working on myself, so it was not a priority for me to be like, I don't need to have a relationship with him. Like, I didn't go to their wedding. I didn't need to be there. But I don't know, a couple years ago or whatever, I don't know, the tension was still there, and it was something that I kind of wanted to work on, but I wasn't ready for it yet, and he wasn't going to be the one to mend it. So I had to be the one basically to fix it and step up and do it. So I wasn't ready to do that until, like, I don't know how long ago it was now. Maybe coming up on 2 years? I don't know. It's over a year ago, but I don't think it's quite 2 years. So I don't know, we set like a time, because she was like, well, go have coffee with him. And I was like, no, that wasn't what I wanted it to be. And then there was a point where it was like, okay, let's have, like, you want to come over and talk? And I was like, sure. So I had to put on my big girl pants and say, and just be in that conversation, like, hey, I know there's been tension between us. You know, I was doing the best with what I had. I don't really know what happened, you know, but just to clear the air, if you want to kind of start over and be, like, start off on new feet, then I would be open to that. Okay? And it was literally like a sentence like that. Like, it was very short. And he was kind of like, yeah. Like, literally since then, it's been fine. But it was a big, scary conversation. I can tell you why it was big and scary, because for a couple days after that, I was sick. All of that stress and that buildup and that tension I felt in my body, right? So it was big and scary and I didn't want to do it, but I did it. And because of that, I can now talk about it as a growth point for people. I wasn't even going to bring up this example, but now that I'm thinking about it, when I'm learning about sales in a number of my jobs and service, and sales is about having, like, someone has a problem and you have a solution for them. And being new to sales, or how you get better at sales, is getting out of your comfort zone and starting to have scary conversations. It's a new skill set that you need to have. And I don't know if you can tell, but a lot of salespeople make a lot of money. So if you want to make a lot of money, having difficult conversations can be a skill that you work on and get better at to get something that you want out of life. And then another personal example. There was a point on my journey where I had a really rough day, and I went to my Buddhist meeting that night, and I was like crying there. I was being very vulnerable. I don't remember why I was stressed, but I then knew pretty quick after that I had to have a conversation with both of my parents individually about how their relationship affected me when I was younger. Because again, from the outside, and there's a lot of good loving moments, but I was just so sensitive that sometimes the actions that they took, affected me and stressed me out looking back. Not that you can go back and fix it, but this is to the point that I've been talking about recently of how speaking your truth and sharing your story and being seen can heal you, because you can move forward integrated. So yeah, I don't know who I sat with first, but I met with my mom at a bagel shop, and I kind of said how my parents treated each other, how that sometimes affected me. And she's a Scorpio, so she was more on the defensive. She was like, I'm sorry that happened to you. And I was like, okay, well, a little invalidating, but I'm glad that I got to have that conversation with her, because I basically knew that I had to get to a point where I had to be very real, right? Being an adult and now having an adult relationship with my parents, if I wanted it to feel smoother as I moved forward in the future, this is what I had to do. Just speak my truth and state the facts of that truth. I didn't come at them and say, because you did this, right? That's where they would get defensive and you would get mad and angry at each other. But to just state the facts of, here's where I was at, very sensitive and empathic and intuitive. And noticing what I did, I carried around people's stress that wasn't mine for a long time. That's the facts, right? That's my truth. And I'm not attacking anybody. That was just my experience. Okay. So then switching over to my dad, I had to have, a similar conversation. And he can be very, very empathetic sometimes. So he was like, I'm sorry. I got a very heartfelt apology. And he is not always like that. But that was a point where he could kind of recognize that and notice that and just affirm what I had shared with him. So looking back, these were big, scary conversations. However, my life completely transformed because I changed the energy and the tension of those situations and scenarios for me, so I could become more empowered moving in my life compared to feeling disempowered. Because you can see where the disempowered state, or before I made those conversations I was feeling the tension with my mom's husband, and everyone can feel that when you're at a social situation or experience, right? But I was like, forget this, I'm not doing this pattern, I'm gonna step up and change it. And for me, I'm very close with both my parents, so again, if I wanted to have a happier, healthier relationship with them moving forward, there was just a point where I was like, I know I need to share what I experienced as a kid. And again, that's for my freedom. That's for me to feel empowered and own all parts of my story and my truth. Not blame anybody. Not say, you suck, you suck, you suck. Forget all of you. You can never be in my life again. Now, people do choose to do that, and that is a choice if that's what you want to do. Sometimes it's going to be the best situation and scenario to do that. However, there can be huge growth and transformation in scary conversations. if that's something that you want support with or just to chat about, I would love to hear your story. I'm always curious about people's experiences. I hope you got something out of today. Let me know what you want to see next, and I'll see you soon. Bye.